welcome to Circuits Scotch, where we talk about manufacturing issues, tech specs, and
all while sipping some whiskey.
Yep, that's how they get me to do this after hours when the facility's shut down and closed. It's kind of eerie in here, actually.
Yeah, these weekend nights are a little weird.
It's kind of nice. It's always
usually get a lot of noise going on behind us, so it's especially those ovens. Those things scream at you.
Yep.
Alrighty, so like you said, we're going to answer some questions here today. So what is nanocoating, and is it worth the expense?
Wow, I know almost nothing about nanocoating. Fortunately, I have the technical guy here. But yeah, nanocoating, is it worth the expense? I'll leave that up to the expert.
Perfect. I'll talk from the tech side, and then he'll be able to get you the real answer. So, nanocoating, in my opinion, absolutely. I'm the engineer. I'm always going to want to spend a little bit more money, especially to get a better product. Now, what is it? It's basically, there's a couple different types. You got your basic wipe on, and you can literally buy that in wipes and wipe it on yourself. It's very cheap and honestly doesn't give you the bang for your buck. You're just spending more money to increase your process time. The real nanocoating is applied by the stencil house.
That's a great point, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you'll hear that nano wipe as well, so I want to cover that.
Yeah.
Nanocoating itself is applied at the stencil house, and it's exactly as it sounds. It's a nano-sized coating that's applied to the top of the stencil as well as the inside walls, and what that does is help smooth out the stencils a little bit.
Good. I'm sorry.
You're good.
This is good stuff. This is really good. We'll tell you about this later. It's good stuff.
There you go. So it's applied to the top and the inside to allow the paste to come off and release a lot better. And essentially what that does is reduce your defects drastically. And honestly, it's about the closest thing to a silver bullet that you can get to in manufacturing. So if you're going to ask me if it's worth it, I'd say almost always.
Technical stuff there. Bottom line, I'll explain it like this: is when you're building a block wall, you want perfect bricks. You don't want bricks that are all busted and crumbling, right? You want to have the perfect bricks. You want to stack them absolutely perfect. When you paste on a PC board pad, you want a perfect paste brick there, and so the nanocoating allows its release around the apertures, I believe, is what you technical guys call it, and so it releases better. So you have a perfect brick every time. So when you're applying the next block, which will technically be the component, it makes a massive difference. So the cost differential from the engineering standpoint, I'll talk as a business owner. It depends on your board. If you have a very highly technical board with lots of fine pitch, BGAs, BTCs, all the difficult to visually inspect components, you want to give production every opportunity to make that thing work for you. And when you really look at it, the cost, say, is $300 average. How many prints can you get out of that stencil?
So yeah, it depends on what your production quantity. That's a great point to point out. What's your production quantities? If you're doing 500 boards at a time, that thing's going to last pretty much the life of that revision of the board.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to rebuy that. Now, if you're doing 25,000 boards a month, it'll probably last you 2 months until you're going to have to replace it. But even at that, the cost is almost negligible because you're talking about anywhere from $150 to $300 extra per stencil, depending on where you get it.
Yeah, exactly.
When you divide that out by 20, 30, 40,000, it means no difference.
So the math almost always works out to go with nanocoating, and probably the only time I would say I recommend against it for our customers is when they're doing low volume and they know they're going to have a lot of high revisions. They're going to run 200 boards and run 300 boards and run 500 boards, and they know there's going to be a revision in between every. Then I probably don't do it. But when you look at what could when you base it on economy of scale, the larger your runs are, it paid for itself every time.
Absolutely.
Because the amount of labor, imagine one RMA. For $350, you're running 1,000 boards, 2,000 boards, 5,000 boards. That one stencil for $300 will ensure the quality across all those boards. Imagine one RMA and what it would cost the company. I think you can justify that pretty easily.
Absolutely, and like you said, when you're up in scale, it's a whole different question, because for that cost, the other side is, let's just pretend that your first pass yield is 0.5%, which is amazing. They're talking about 200 boards, it means you're going to have one failure. That's easy to fix and get going. When you do 20,000, that adds up really quickly. And frankly, you're going to spend a lot of money on rework techs, a lot more on rework techs than you would just investing a little bit more in the stencil.
Yeah, so it's always worth it. I can tell you too, just from the quoting standpoint, if we quote nanocoat on large volumes, we always will. If we don't quote it, we're going to charge you more anyways, because the amount of rework and touch up we're going to have on a non-nanocoat stencil is not worth it for us. So
caveat that with what the technology is on the board. If you're 0.5 or bigger and you're not doing any super fine pitch,
there you go.
You're in the clear. We're not going to. It's silly to even talk about it.
Good point. So the bottom line is, let the engineers decide, and if we suggest it, you should listen to us because we know what we're doing.
Well, if with that being said,
too much, too much. Look, you guys
perfect.
you guys actually want our opinion. So there you go.
If you're watching this, at least, right?
There you go.
So that being said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, queries, or conundrums, go ahead and toss them in the comments below, or of course you can shoot us an email or give us a phone call.
Yep, and if you like this even a little bit, we're new to this, and we would really appreciate your support. So click on the like button below or subscribe. That'd even be better. So until next time,
let's keep on building
and keep on sipping.
Cheers.